Welcome to Break a Wish, the podcast where all your dreams come true, but with terrible, ironic consequences. I'm your host, Maddox Campbell. On each show, we take a magic wish and try to come up with the perfect ironic cost. The idea is that, knowing the wish's cost, it'd still be a tough call whether you take that wish or not. Last week we had, you can bring lifeless objects to life, but you experience the pain of childbirth every time you do. You must use this at least once. We had 80% reject this wish on Twitter, but a 50-50 split in the Facebook discussion group. I think we just all don't feel ready to be parents of mops and rocks. For this week, we're a regular bunch of Time Lords, with a wish by Rachel Cassidy Cree, who wished for the ability to control time. I'm joined by Scott Thrower and Kat Letwin to, wait for it, break down this wish. All right, we got another wish from a listener, but first, who are we sitting down with? We have Kat Letwin.
Hi.
And Scott Thrower.
Oh God, I need another RuPaul's Drag Race greeting. I'm terrible at these.
I don't even know what's happening, but now I need you to do it. You know?
I assume you've already done like Miss Vanjie.
Sashay away. Oh yeah, Vanjie.
Great.
Through the power and majesty of teamwork, we got there.
And the wish we're breaking down today is I want the ability to control time. So off the top, I think we're going to need to define that ability a little bit because that's pretty broad. Mm-hmm. What powers would that mean exactly? So I guess you could stop, speed up, slow down, travel through?
Is it like clock stopper logic?
What is the... I don't remember actually seeing clock stoppers. So what was the ability?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
So how do we know we're using the right logic?
They have a clock.
Yeah, they stopped it.
And they stopped it. So yeah, they could... I think that was just they were able to stop time. I'm not sure if they could speed up or slow down, but I think they could stop it.
So we're saying, are we looking at like localized forward and backwards, like slight fast forward, slight rewind? Or are we talking you can jump off the timeline and back to a previous
like
point?
TARDIS style.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about controlling time as opposed to time travel, because those are two different types of things, right?
Yes, true.
Oh, technical.
I think... Yes, I'm going to be technical on that. So I think the idea would be that you can pull yourself out of the timeline or stop it or speed it up or slow it down.
Okay.
So you stop it, you can still move, but everything else is not. You speed it up, it travels more quickly around you. Slow it down, you get, I guess, super reflexes as a result.
Now, is there any way here that we can caveat this so that we cannot make ourselves immortal? Because if you can personally affect how time affects you and you live forever, that's a cheat.
Maybe. Well, it's the idea that you can stop time, you can take something from it, but it must take something from you as well.
Oh.
So for like every time you slow down time, forever how long that is, that's the amount of time taken off your life.
Okay, so I think we're going straight into a cost then. Like that would be a possible way to do the cost to it.
Yeah.
So
sorry if I jumped.
No. Yeah.
I had paused time to think about this, and now I'm experiencing it differently. So I apologize.
I had the whole conversation, then came back.
Came back.
That I looked brainier.
And still, you're just sitting here with no ideas. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe the way our powers work will be slightly different depending on the way we want to work the costs. Sure. They might affect each other a little bit. So you're saying you can slow down time or stop time.
Or speed up.
Time. Yeah. And that'll affect your life. How does the math work on that exactly?
If you wanted to make it like really, really terrible, for every second that you choose to use, or no, how about for every minute that you slow down, stop, or speed up time, that's a year off your life.
Oh, wow.
Oh, geez. That's a
big
lot.
One.
That's pricey.
That's very pricey to make use of. And suddenly there's a weird time conversion here. So, okay, if you speed up time by a minute, what rate is the minute sped up by? So
no, the minute is still sped up. But
is it your minute or is it the real time's minute that's sped up?
It's okay. So we have our natural timeline, how we experience it. If you're speeding it up, the measure of how the years taken off your life is still measured by how we experience time regularly.
So if I wanted to, let's just do this. So if I wanted to jump a year into the future by super speeding, but I want to experience that time between now and a year in the future as only 1 minute, does that be 1 year off my life, or is that
Like,
is
what do I-
that
so
however
you
minutes
just
there are in a
immediately
year,
die.
and I just immediately die?
Okay, maybe taking a whole year off is a bit much. It's a little bit much. So.
Okay.
So maybe
we can adjust the scale on
we
this.
can adjust the inflation rate.
I'm still trying to go. Is it based on your experience, or is it based on everyone else's experience?
I think
guess?
your experience.
Okay.
I would say.
So then you can still jump forward through time quite a bit if you want to.
Yeah.
And it's just the rate at which you experience that super speed.
Yeah.
So super speed it isn't really that costly because you just make it faster to make up the difference.
But then think of all, I think it's more rare to want to speed through like an entire year or something like that. Think of all
That's
the
a lost
moments you
year.
ever wanted to take a Zach Morris time out.
Yeah. Those are what are going to cost more. Yeah.
Yes.
The stops and the slows.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there are winters I would love to speed through. Winter is the worst time of year for me. So skipping certain months I would love. That would be awesome. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Okay, no, but yeah. So maybe we always do it in at least a 1 minute chunk of the experience.
Yeah.
So that way the cost is sort of standardized. So you can go as fast as you want through winter.
Yeah.
And it'll always have that same standard cost. I feel like a year may be a bit.
Yeah, I think a year is a bit much. Look, it's a new currency.
We're throwing
It's a
stuff
new
out.
currency. Figuring our place in the space-time continuum. You know.
What do you think? What do you guys think might be a fair cost for that? For like a single jump, a single stop, single slow.
See, I kind of like the idea that time travelers still have their lifespan. Like, as a man, I don't know what the average age for a man dying is. I think it's around 68 or something like that.
Oh, I think we're doing better with that in these countries, in Canada.
Okay,
currently.
I'm diabetic. It'll be lower for me.
Well, okay.
So, so my 68 will still get used up, but depending on how I use time, I could stretch that over a millennia. That would be awesome. Or I could burn through that really quick because I had this nice romance with this guy once and just relive that summer over and over again. And he'll be weirded out because there's so many copies of me suddenly there. But, there are advantages there too.
Okay, that sounds like time travel if you can copy yourself.
But if I'm rewinding time...
Okay, yeah, if we're rewinding.
Am I still in my same body, or is that me across the room slowly moving towards me?
I imagine it's not, because I think this also goes into the fundamental difference between slowing and speeding time versus time travel. I think you would have to rewind yourself to go to that point where that relationship was starting or like the best day of it. And you get to, say whatever you want, do what you want, have a great time, and then you pause, rewind, and it's still just you.
So you're Groundhog Day.
It would be like backspacing through time. Yeah.
Okay, so time travel in this case is sort of like a mental process that happens where your mind and your consciousness travels back and forth.
Yeah, but then you can still make changes once you're back there. So,
but you can't go back before your birth.
No. Let's say no on that. Because that's time travel. That's definitely time travel.
I think you could go back to being in the womb, until
Well,
we can have the argument about when consciousness starts and what's a life.
No,
but I don't know if that's what we want to have on this podcast.
As a 40-year-old man, I don't want to re-experience that moment with my mother.
Just take a peek
with the full consciousness. No.
You're just feeling real cold, and you're like, maybe the womb was warm.
No, thanks.
Okay, me neither.
Thank you. No, thank you.
But yeah, I think you'd still have to be within your lifespan. Because otherwise, that's time travel, right?
This has already gotten kind of lame.
You don't like it? I still think there's a lot of use you could make.
Nothing great happened in the 80s.
You hate clock stoppers.
Maybe you should have just done more with your life.
See, now it's starting in my mind turning into that situation. Well, then this is only useful for stocks. I will go back and buy Apple.
Okay, so maybe we shouldn't allow that backwards travel at all then. Maybe it's only stop, fast forward, or slow down.
So you can skip every boring moment.
Yeah, you can skip through anything that's boring. You can stop and move faster than anyone around you by just stopping time to get things on time.
Now, is there a version of you still living through all of those moments? So you're fast forward and just catching up with yourself at some point? So someone still did that sit in the doctor's office and read that copy of highlights and figured out what was in the tree?
If we're going based on the movie Click with Adam Sandler.
Click
and
rules,
of course
okay.
we must.
We must. Then yes, you have like an autopilot version of yourself when you fast forward.
Okay. That sounds like much of my life.
Yeah. You just sort of like blasé through it and do like the most boring possible
Yeah.
responses to the stuff that you choose not to experience.
Okay.
And then you don't have a memory of it, which is problematic because then you don't remember what you did, even if
Then
it was
I have
boring.
to re-find that
Yeah, you'd have to go back again.
thing in that highlights
and
magazine.
that costs
in that
another
tree.
cost, yeah. But okay, so
Well, that's a good cost.
stopping time and slowing time are still super powerful.
Can we just steal our cost from an Adam Sandler movie and just be done with it? Episode done. Fastest episode ever.
No, do not sue me. We are not plagiarizing you, Adam Sandler. Don't come after me. I know you're litigious.
Yes, he writes all of his own stuff.
Yes, and he also listens to all of my podcasts.
Right.
Yeah, well, I keep on seeming to shrink down the power of time you get here, but yeah, because I mean, you could fast forward, but I don't know if you'd want to, unless it was really boring and you just really didn't want to be part of it.
Well, fast forward through any pooping moment right there.
I find that really satisfying.
Fast forward through this moment.
Well, say like you have like a shitty day job, you could fast forward through that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
everything gets done, you get paid. Awesome.
There's a mental exhaustion to doing certain boring jobs
Yeah.
that if you could do them but skip them mentally, you'd be better off for the rest of your day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or think of too, if you're like driving across a long distance and you're like, okay, yeah, I've seen enough majesty for the day. I'm going to fast forward.
Yeah.
You know?
Ugh, majesty.
Ugh.
But all of us have lived through times where there were VCRs and you had to fast forward through commercials. You never know exactly when to stop. You keep guessing. You're never right.
That's why a lot of shows had that little, and now back to the show. There's
Yeah.
enough time for you to stop. And you just saw that logo come up when you're fast forwarding. Wish life had those.
Well, TV now has promos at either side where there's usually, like, if they start talking about another show that's on their network, you know they're coming back in.
Yeah.
If they had that back in the VCR day, it would have been very useful.
Okay, so what's the equivalent in life? I guess I mean, if you're still seeing your life, even if you're like a little bit as you're fast forwarding through it, there's probably a hint that you're about to be done, like the clock within view, if it's a job.
Yeah, but if it's like your job and you stop fast forwarding as soon as you come into your apartment, what if you have a car accident along the way and you sort of just accidentally go past that?
I feel like that would wake you up.
Why are we stuck on a remote control? Why did you bring Adam Sandler into this?
Because you asked about fast forwarding, and that was the only relevant reference I could think of that has used fast forwarding before for skipping moments in their life. There's lots of examples of people using super speed, like to dodge bullets and stuff, bullet time, Matrix in.
Comic books, you say?
Comic books a lot, yeah.
See, you could rob anywhere if you were fast enough.
Yeah, oh, robbery. Again, if you're using this for evil, this is definitely a powerful power.
But if we're talking about you actually lived through those moments, that would make that robbery really awkward because autopilot, you had to go through that process of robbing that place.
Oh, but so we're saying that you're using your like time stop power, right? So this is the one where you stop the rest of the world from moving and you just move independently.
Okay.
So it
Yeah.
basically becomes like the Flash. You just walk in, grab the money that is currently open, put it in your pockets, wander out around the corner, and then turn time back on.
See, your atoms moving through those other atoms, when you reactivated time, you essentially moved faster than the speed of sound.
Yes.
Huge clack of sound breaking.
Yeah, there's definitely a problem with, and also how would you breathe while air isn't timed?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're getting highly... Do we ignore science for this magic?
I think we may have to hand wave around some parts of
So
science
we're saying this
here.
is a magical process, not advanced science. you're
Yes,
working
this is
on.
definitely magic at work, not science.
Okay.
But there still might be things outside the direct purview of the power that would be implications. I feel like letting you breathe is probably okay. Like if we're going to go full...
You know what? Don't worry.
Let's let people breathe.
I'll let you breathe.
See, I'm frustrated by the fact that we can't rewind because I'd like to be like standing outside of the coffee shop, fast forward to see how the date went, rewind, and then decide whether to go into the coffee shop.
Okay, so you're using
I need
using time
rewind
travel for
brought in back.
prophecy.
Yeah.
Okay, so then if we're bringing in rewind that way, I think it works like backspacing. You're deleting one possible future.
Oh, I'm collapsing universes.
collapsing
so
universes.
when you go on that date, it may not necessarily go the way that you just saw. So it's a false prophecy.
Yeah,
That's true. Because,
So you could
of
maybe
course,
do
in
a
Groundhog
better-
Day, he never knew exactly what was going to happen that day, even though he chose what he was going to do different.
Groundhog Day rules.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you could choose to do your date differently the second time, and maybe it will go wonderful.
Or maybe you'll
That's
muck
getting
it up.
weirdly manipulative.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
like
gross.
Groundhog Day.
Well, true. Yeah.
If we're going to reference that, he was not a good
Hey,
man in
it
that.
was turned into a musical. Surely his actions couldn't be that bad.
I'm so jealous that he got to learn how to play the piano. That's the one thing I got out of that movie.
But again, if we're going to go full science on this, and I don't think we should,
But let's try it out.
let's try it
see.
just
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
second.
yeah.
Let's just dabble in this. You would not be able to see because the photons would stop traveling. And so your eyes wouldn't take in any light.
Yeah.
So as soon as you stop time, you go blind.
That just sounds like an effect of the wish, a bad outcome.
A bad outcome. So that might be why you'd want to slow time and then things would just get dark.
Okay.
Oh, underdeveloped film.
Because you'd still be able to see things. It's just they would not be getting as many photons. And your eyes might still react, so you still might
As
be able
you're
to pull it off.
moving towards something, those photons are going in your eye.
How's your mic technique right now, John?
My mic technique was terrible there, which actually just enhanced the feeling that my voice was moving by.
Yes, your voice was moving by as you
Yeah.
leaned off mic
Yeah,
to tell
yeah.
us that, your eyes would pick up more photons. I'm going to make sure they hear this as they move forward through them because they'd just be sitting in the air.
So the faster you run, the brighter the world gets.
Yes. So you want to run really fast when you go in slow time. I'd never want to go in stop time because then I'd go completely blind. But if I go in slow time, or I guess if you were in stop time, you could see as you were moving.
This is lunacy.
It's lunacy, yeah. So let's hand wave over this
Yeah.
and say that it's like in a movie where for some reason you can see and feel warmth and hear sound.
Okay, so pinning this down, you can still move forward in time. You can or you cannot rewind.
We'll say, you can rewind, but it's like a backspacing, yeah.
And it can only be within the time frames of your life. So at some point, there's going to be hard stops on the front and end, even though the hard stop on the end is going to fluctuate depending on what you do.
Yes. You could add time on that by making the right choices. Eating well, exercising regularly.
Stop
Going
looking
to
at
the
me when you
doctor.
say this.
I mean, I'm not a role model by anyone's estimates.
Look, as the healthiest woman in the world, I say as I light up another cigarette, let me tell you, it's important to make the right choices.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's smooth.
So we'll say Cat's cost was that when you use this power, you're losing some time off the end of your life. Mm-hmm. So that gets like an added cost off your destiny
And
ending.
you might not even be dying of old age. You never know. You could
be a
Destiny
sudden thing.
says that you get in a car accident, you have a heart attack, you just like trip on the pavement and then hit your head the wrong way, and suddenly, boom, you did.
And how much do you want to try to adjust that conversion rate right now, or do you want to put that off for a little bit?
I would say
Minute to a day, maybe?
Yeah, a minute to a day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
Let's start with that,
fair.
and we can maybe adjust it later if we have to. But let's
Yeah.
try with that.
Which is like, so now I would change also the measurement of set time. So if you're speeding up and like the minutes are going by like seconds, those still count as a minute. So if you want to speed up
yeah.
time, like
So it's based on reality's time,
You
yeah.
really know the costs.
Okay.
Okay. Scott, do you have an idea on this one?
Yeah, my cost is you always know where that end of your life is. You are constantly aware of your death
Oh.
and exactly when it's going to happen.
So you'd end up using your power constantly in an obsession to try to add to that date.
But that means no relationship you form ever becomes a real relationship because you're just going to rewind and undo it.
Wouldn't you like some of them?
To undo some of those relationships?
No, wouldn't you like some relationships enough to not undo them? Oh, you're saying you
that's
just...
that's part of the cost.
Oh, so I'm saying you know that there's an end, so you just live...
You either have to reach that end at some point and reach death, or keep rewinding, undoing those relationships you made in whatever period of time you're now erasing, and start over, climbing out of that womb.
I feel like
Climbed
that...
out, huh?
Yeah, he climbed out. Yeah.
I mean,
there was a ladder. It was...
I see where you have the horror there, but I also see where this just is immortality with...
Immortality in a certain period of time.
in your lifespan, which
You're Groundhog Daying like 68 years.
Again, I think I can squeeze more out of that, but... But yeah, you're groundhogging your whole life, and you're making it a better life each time because you get better practice. It's like...
No, but also every time you make a choice, you feel that end of your life change.
Yeah.
So now you're evaluating like, oh God, I had a McGriddle. And suddenly 7 years have disappeared.
From one McGriddle?
One McGriddle.
They don't put that on the packaging.
Butterfly effect.
Shakes down the line. You get one McGriddle, you get addicted. It's
Yep.
highly addictive, and then your life falls apart.
I'm not even entirely sure what a McGriddle is, but it sounds like it was a real product.
It was.
Okay, good.
I think it's one of those occasional visiting ones,
Gotcha.
like the McRib. But no, I don't know what it's made out of.
It feels like it should be a pancake in a bun.
It might be.
Isn't it basically like a sausage and egg McMuffin, but between two flapjacks?
Oh, that makes sense.
I think that's what it is.
If not, trademark.
That sounds so good.
Yeah, well,
7
7
years.
years.
7
Good.
years.
7 years.
I'm losing it. I'm losing it for sure.
Whisper Steve.
But again, if I'm keeping the memory of all these possible lives, even if they don't keep in their continuity, that's still somewhat real to me. So I would still keep reliving my life, and I would make the right choices. This seems like just even better for me.
Yeah, but also like if you made a choice that undid a really good choice further down the line, like meeting someone, you might not get the chance to make that choice again.
Yeah.
Of course you can. Bridge might be burned.
You said we can rewind as much as we want.
Yeah, but look at Groundhog Day. Look how many times he had to do that to be able to actually get the girl.
Right. But
he was in there for thousands of years.
Right. So the other option is I die.
Yep.
And then I also only lived this life?
You have to live through the Backstreet
Have
Boys
you seen
so many times.
my life?
I'm okay with
I
that.
didn't.
I'm sitting in the middle of your life right now.
I made a lot of mistakes along the way to get here.
Yes, but I also noticed that your rent increase was only 1.45%, which was amazing for Toronto.
It is. I have a very nice setup right now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Ooh, that's some podcast host luck right there. That's what it is.
But I might be able to get that again.
Maybe or maybe not. I really like that point that you made where a good choice or you think you're fixing a mistake that you made now means that you've completely cut yourself off from maybe something even better happening down the line. Like that is such a gamble.
See, it's a gamble.
This feels like a choose your own adventure book where you just reread it until you find the ending you like.
But then you die. Otherwise, you have to go back and rewrite it again. Even if you find an ending you love, you then have to rewind it or die.
Yeah.
And you'll never know when you've reached the best one.
No, you never do.
I mean, if you do enough ones, you go like, you know what, 56 trip was my best trip. I'm going back to, you know what, I'll die on 56.
Yeah, but how can you make that choice exactly the same way? You're going to do something slightly different, which is going to change everything.
Yeah, even by the second.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of butterflies at play there.
I mean, just think about how many sperm were swimming towards that one egg. The slightest change causes a different sperm, causes a totally different person who wasn't Maddox.
Okay, but I'm not going to go further back than my own
I'm just
conception.
using that as an
Right.
example.
I could end up messing up any children I have if I have children.
Let's face it, you're going to anyway.
Have children?
Mess them up.
Oh, yeah. Because I might not have children. Then I wouldn't mess them up. So,
Yeah.
let's not take that risk.
I'm happy with my consequence here.
Okay. If you're happy with it. So
I'm
we got
happy with it.
End of your life. We've got when it's going to end and you Groundhog Day in it. Mm-hmm. Now I have to think of one, and I don't think I had one for this.
Oh, yeah, because Maddox works these out beforehand. So whenever Maddox sounds brilliant on this show.
And I'm going to cut out this you telling me my secret.
See, that's what happens. He's
You're
in
the
charge
one-
of the narrative, man.
You said your secret.
Okay, so you can control time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
what we're going with. But something to do with you have trouble controlling space while doing it. So
you're clumsy?
So you're sliding around.
Friction stops exist?
Yeah, you lose.
If we're having issues with photons, yeah, sure, friction too. Why not?
Suddenly have to wear ice skates everywhere.
Are constantly. Oh, here we go. Using your time powers. No, you just always have jet lag. All of your life now, you have the feeling of jet lag where you will feel energized at the wrong times of day and you will feel tired at certain times of day.
Like forever?
Just all the time
All the
now.
time.
Your tiredness will never
only
be
when
synced to
you're
the world
using
around you.
the-
No, all
No?
the time. You get the ability to control time. You can go faster, slower. You can rewind, stop time. But you just always feel tired whenever it happens to be a time where you should be chipper. And you always seem chipper when it's a time when everyone around you would expect you to be tired.
Isn't that just adulthood?
It's a little bit more. It's
Okay.
more, it's that plus magic.
Gotcha.
So really sleepy and chipper at night. How are you guys thinking about this?
This sounds like my life. I mean,
Yeah, just your normal life?
yeah.
How's your sleep, Scott?
Well, I'm a night person and I work a day job. So
Okay.
I'm always chipper in the evenings and I'm always tired at work.
Maybe you should have picked a different path?
They pay well.
Okay. What about you, Kat? How would you deal with having constant jet lag in your life? Just always feeling the wrong
That would be
amount of tired.
awful. That would be extremely, extremely annoying. But as someone I sometimes have bouts of insomnia. Luckily less now, but when I was younger, early 20s, even late teens, routinely staying up all night because I physically couldn't sleep, just laying in my bed being oh my God, I'm so bored and there's nothing I can do. And then, an hour before I'm supposed to get up, I'm oh, there we go. Finally asleep. And then the alarm rings. I'm let's go.
And that would be for sure this power, because if you tried to fast forward through the night where you had insomnia, you'd end up being tired the moment it becomes daytime.
Yeah, I always, I'll never forget how bad that felt, and sometimes, rarely, as I said, but sometimes feels. That would be,
You can use your powers to rob banks, I guess, but
yeah, that's
you're real
true.
tired.
Yeah, like I'd just be a real sleepy criminal. It's just like with my sacks of money, the old timey ones that have the dollar signs on them.
Of course.
Just like, I'm a sleepy little kitten.
Oh, little crime
Do you
man.
mind if I just curl up on the couch with all of my crime?
And then when they put you to bed in prison, because you're going to go, then
that would be hard.
You're up all night being like, yeah, come on, everybody.
Yeah, but then I could stop time, just like walk out of the jail, right? Like when they open.
You have to wait for the doors to open. But yeah, you could probably walk out.
Yeah, or just fast forward through your sentence.
Yeah, get my guard's keys. No, I don't have the patience even to fast forward through sentence.
Okay.
Just leave, become a fugitive. It's fine.
Yeah, just be a
All
sleepy,
because I'm
superpowered
so
supervillain.
tired. Yeah. Oh, but then would this mean, because I do a lot of work at night, would it mean like every time I'm ready to go on stage, I'd be tired?
No, because at nighttime, you're jazzed. Unless it's an early show. Like, if you got like an early evening show, like an 8 p.m. show, you'd probably be a little sluggish still. But if you can get a 10 o'clock show, you might start to pep up.
Then I'd be in the money. Oh, God, filming would be even worse.
Filming would not go well
That
for
would
you.
not go well at all.
You'd have
So
to do
I have to
only
answer
night
now?
movies.
I have to answer now?
Well, we haven't actually gone to pick on our one for moving forward.
but I will
I
take
just want to
this.
know if this is still a cost that
No. This is something I'm wrestling with.
Because he's just saying that it's his life. So, I mean, I can't really use that as a cost
I just
on him.
came back from a cottage trip with my parents, my siblings, and my nephew. I stay up till 1 a.m. Everyone else in the cottage was in bed by 9:30. And then I had to be very, very quiet
For about 3 hours.
and not leave my tiny cottage bedroom for so many
Yeah.
hours. And my internet went out midway through the week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I'm going to be.
Yeah.
You're going to be?
Because I'm back in Toronto where internet exists.
Yeah.
And it's better.
Yeah.
It's better here.
And going to bed at 1 a.m. is actually like, that's pretty
pretty
decent.
no- yeah.
That's early.
Yeah, exactly.
That's early.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think I had the best pitch necessarily, but I think it has
No,
some value to it.
There's lots
There's
to get
something
in there.
But let's pick one of the three and try to go forward and see if we can pick it off. So let's recap them real quick. Scott had, when your life is going to end, and immediately when all your choices change the end of your life.
Yep.
Kat has, whenever you use your powers, you take, every minute you use, you take a day off the end of your life, is what we decided with the conversion rate. Mm-hmm. And I decided you have constant jet lag, and you're peppy at night, and you're sleepy during the daytime. I don't know.
It's so wholesome. That's such a wholesome consequence of this power.
Sometimes I have horrific things. Sometimes I don't.
I was just like, no, you have to eat your mini wheats dry.
Oh, honestly, that's pretty bad. No, maybe let's go with that. Mini wheats are dry. Ugh. Dry cereal every morning.
Some cereals are good dry.
Some
I'm
are
just
good.
going to put there.
Yeah, mini wheats are great.
Corn Pops, amazing dry.
Oh yeah, those will work. Reese's, the Reese's cereal is just great.
Yeah, you're just eating candy
It's
out
so
of a box.
candy.
It's
It's
just
just
candy.
great candy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so which one do we feel the most we want to go forward on?
I would like to discuss Scott's idea. You can see the end. You understand how your choices are affecting the eventual death outcome.
Yeah.
And then you can backspace and change everything technically in a limitless fashion. Technically,
But I imagine you'd get bored of it.
yes.
But then you get to choose when to die because you still can die. It's not even like you're
Yeah.
stuck having to live.
Yeah, so you've got a way out. And I imagine you'll take it after just like 4 or 5 loops.
You have less of a love for life, and again, I'm worried about you.
Well, the 80s, not great. I don't know why I keep attacking the 80s, but they weren't great.
I was only there for 4 years of that. I had mostly 90s, 2000s. There's some stuff good in there. Even if there's bad stuff, I know it'll pass if I know what comes after.
I mean, you have to become a world traveler. You can't just live through this cycle again and again in Toronto.
Yeah, no, I could live this life once in every country in the world.
Yeah.
See what
Yeah.
then do some mix and matching.
I wonder if it would also start to affect you the way in some stories we imagine gods to be completely indifferent to human pain and suffering. Like, why would it? This god is operating on such a higher level with their own concerns. So it'd be like being sad when you step on an ant.
Yeah.
I wonder when you keep going through these loops and you realize that like whatever choice you make, it doesn't really matter. You can just backspace it and try it again.
Yeah.
So would you become a more callous and unforgiving person?
I think you would. You'd become so manipulative because everyone around you seems to fluctuate just based on you.
Yes.
This is such a you-centered universe that we've created here.
Yeah, you'd become extremely narcissistic.
Well,
Yeah.
I think you'd go through
You're
phases.
the only one who's different.
No, I think you'd go through phases. I think you'd live versions where you try to get the lifetime high score of living the longest, and then you'd get bored because you figured out how to do that. So you'd take a pass where you try to become the most wealthy or most famous and self-centered, but eventually you'd come to realize that relationships are the most valuable, and you have a different version of your life where you're closest with each of your family members and each of
Gag.
your friends.
Shut up and give me the money.
But each of those playthroughs takes you like 40 or 50 years.
Yeah,
These aren't quick playthroughs. Well, you can skim forward.
you can if you want to, or you can just go, oh, this one's not working out.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth
Abort.
it. It wasn't worth it to spend an entire life being very close to my brother Luke. It's not that interesting.
Yeah, it turns out he was a piece of shit.
It turns out.
You know, you can't, it didn't matter how, like, he was a bottomless well. I
Yeah.
poured
Yeah.
money into him,
Yeah.
I poured love, I poured support, but it's just like there's a hole in that bucket.
He seemed perfectly nice once a year at Christmas,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
That's all
every
you
day,
needed, yeah.
that wasn't a good way to live my life. I'm gonna.
Kim Campbell's second term? Too much. Too much.
Hey, come
I don't
on.
see how that goes from what we were just talking about.
Well,
You personally worked to get Kim Campbell
Oh, is
elected
that-
for
that's
two
what you're saying.
terms.
that was one of my life goals.
was
And
it?
one of those.
But
yeah.
then also think of, you know, the brother Luke thing, you know, A plus joke. That was very funny. But also,
That's my real brother.
you would start to learn things about people that you never would have gotten the chance to, for better and for worse. You know, what if you discovered like horrible secrets about your parents because now you're closer to them in this timeline? What if you realize that, like, actually, yeah, like, you were the monster all along,
Yep.
and as soon as, like, you left the family as young as possible, the family got way better. Like, you know, they'll never say that, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
well, we still love you, but because you left when you were like 14 to strike out on your own, and the family had more time just with each other, and that somehow you were in the way, stopping them from somehow becoming more tight-knit or richer or kinder.
Yep.
Oh boy, like there are so many things that you could find out that would be crazy making, that you never would wish to find out ever in any lifetime.
Well, in one of those playthroughs, you're going to accidentally kill your parents in a horrific way. It's just going to
Oh,
happen.
is that a guarantee?
And then you
It's a guarantee.
backspace it. And you
No,
backspace it.
but then every time you look at your mother again, you think, "Oh God, that time I pushed you off a ladder accidentally," and you'll
was an
think about it
accident.
every time. Or,
If I did it on purpose, then that might be harder to live with.
or if you know your mother gets cancer and dies in a horrible, horrible cancer way,
and can
and
I
you
solve
know
the puzzle?
that is going to be coming every time.
Can I solve the puzzle to cure cancer?
No, you can't.
You don't know that.
It takes you 3 tries to find
Takes
out.
me
Like,
3 tries.
oh, no.
3 tries, I solved cancer.
I think I have less
You
confidence
have
in
a
your
lot less
scientific
confidence.
knowledge.
Well, again, infinite tries, infinite books.
You just keep poking her with different drugs each time, and
Yeah, sure.
she
Why not?
doesn't get cancer that one time.
Every time it doesn't work, I rewind and try again.
That's decades of you. Oh well. So
I mean, it wouldn't work
I
for
have a level
decades
of
to help your mother.
stick-with-itness. I'm just a little more
not if
committed.
there were better things to do. You know.
And again, I can still take vacations to live a whole lifetime of hedonism and then come back to it.
You'd have to live through the Macarena so many times.
I can ignore the Macarena for 1 year. I can fast forward through that 1 year.
Okay.
Even the ketchup song.
I somehow missed that on this pass.
Well, okay, next time. You'll get it.
Next time I get it.
You'll get it.
Okay, so let's go and do the votes then. With Scott's Wish, you know when the end of your life is, and you always see it coming. Every change you make, every decision you make. Would you take your own wish, Scott?
No.
No?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Explain why, or is it just based on the stuff we've already said?
Because I am a worrier. I am someone who would be analytically picking it apart constantly and thus not enjoying a second of it.
Let's try Kat then. Would you take Scott's Wish?
At first, I thought, like, oh, yeah, that's a hard pass on that. The knowledge of my own death. But then it changes every time with each pass. But then also the idea of, like, deleting a solid timeline. And then imagine, I'd be talking with my dad about, like, that funny thing that happened. He's like, what? What do you? And I'm like, oh, that was from, like, 3 timelines ago.
Yeah.
I still remember it. The loneliness of holding those kind of memories that simply don't exist anymore, and that's because of you. But to be able to relive things that long, to Groundhog Day yourself into playing the piano or curing cancer. It could be possible. Is it worth the trade-off? You know what? As a puny mortal, I'm sure I would live to regret this, but I'm going to say yes. Yeah, I'd do it.
I'm going to say, as soon as I say yes, that I'm no longer a puny mortal. I am unto like a god. And thus, thank you very much. I always think the world will be better with more godlike Maddox in it. So I am a hard yes on this. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
In a second. I can min-max my life so much. So I think Scott's a no, but Kat and I are both a yes.
Yeah.
So we have come to a finale
And
on
it's
this.
your idea, so I feel like, what did we miss? Oh my God, what horrible contract have we signed now?
We missed how much anxiety Scott has.
Oh yeah. There's a huge amount of it.
He hides it well, but
fairy
it's
tale.
strong.
Yeah.
You can stop, fast forward, or rewind and control time, but you always know when the end of your life is, and every decision you make, how it changes that. That is the wish we have. Kat and I are taking it. Scott is saying no. But what about you, listener? Would you take this wish? Are there any other wishes you'd like to hear us break down? Well, that's what we came up with, but we want to hear from you. Your wishes, your thoughts, whether you take this wish or not. You can find us on Twitter at breakawishpod, email breakawishpod@gmail.com. Join the Break-A-Wish discussion group on Facebook. And you can support the show by writing a review, telling a friend, or donating on our website. All this information at breakawish.ca. For more Kat Letwin, she hosts Sing for Your Supper, an open mic for playwrights and actors, the first Monday of every month at Tarragon Theatre. She also writes and performs with 1623 The Show, and can be seen in The Amazing Gail Pyle and Soul Decision Comedy on CBC Comedy. For more Scott Thrower, he hosts the podcast Fairy Tales for Unwanted Children, full of dark, original fairy tales, which you can find at unwantedchildren.ca. This is a Kicks and Giggles entertainment production, hosted by Maddox Campbell, theme by Matthew Reed, cover art by Justin Langford, and a proud member of the Sonar Podcast Network. More podcasts at thesonarnetwork.com. Before I go, some wishes don't take a whole episode. I call these summary judgments. Ben Clifford on our Facebook group wished that, when you need exact change, having that exact change in your pocket. The cost to that is that your pockets are always full of nickels, dimes, quarters. Enough that your pants are weighed down and you sound like a maraca when you walk. So, what would you wish for?
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.
Sonar!
Once upon a time, there were dragons, fairies, wishes, and farmers. These aren't your happy endings for your overachievers, or your precious babes with bright futures. This is Fairy Tales for Unwanted Children, an excellent, unsettling podcast, says Tampa Dad 66. As calming as it is eerie, Becca James of avclub.com. Wow, that was pretty good. You, about 15 minutes from now. Fairy Tales for Unwanted Children. Unwantedchildren.ca.